Let's take a look at MediaCloud.ai and see how we can store, search, and organize all of our source footage like photos and videos in the cloud. For this purpose, we've created a demo account called Solar Inc. So let's take a look. First, we have our folders here in the top left corner. We can see that they are sorted by date. So in other words, when the footage was actually filmed. Below that, we have our customizable tags that are individual to each company. Here we have product names, stuff like R&D, logistics, consumer footage, or it can be more technical terms like drone and time-lapse. But we do recommend being quite restrictive when it comes to creating all of these tags, because you do want to keep it quite concise and not too much overlap in the different terms. Over on the right-hand side here, we have our collections. And these are batches of footage that we can either download locally to the computer or send off an external link to someone outside the organization. On our main dashboard, you'll notice this mouse over feature we have, and that is a great way to get a really quick overview of all your source footage. Inside the thumbnail here, we'll find a nice time code. We have something that allows us this button here to add something to a collection, and we can see that this particular clip doesn't have any audio. For stills, you can see the format of the still here, and that can also be added to a collection as well. On top of that, we have our custom search field up here, and you can search for something very specific by simply entering some text. We can reset that and go back to the main dashboard. Besides that, we can filter the assets that are shown, so if you want to see individual videos or stills only, and we can sort by alphabetically or the date of filming. And this combination of folders, tags, and text here in the top really enables you to find footage super fast. So let's give it a go. Let's say I want to try and find something for this specific product, and it's drone shots. So here I can already see that, okay, this looks pretty nice, this footage, and this is exactly what I'm looking for. So as you can see, browsing your entire source footage archive in this convenient way makes it super easy to recycle the footage and find the stuff you're looking for extremely fast. We can also hide the side panels here off to the side to give ourselves a little bit of a bigger canvas, and it goes for both sides as well. Lastly, we have our upload section up here. First, we start by selecting the year, and then we assign a specific folder for the footage. Then we actually enter the specific day in which it was filmed. Below that, we can input optional metadata like location, production company, the photographer's name, or internal notes when needed. Then I simply just add the relevant tags, and I can batch upload a bunch of assets. Here I have both photos and videos in the same batch. And now the system is going to start uploading and processing all of those files. That covers the main functionality of our dashboard here. But let's click on this photo and see the actual attributes. On the left-hand side, we see the folder that the photo is stored in. We see when it was uploaded, and we have a unique ID for this asset. We can also see the 3 collections this photo is already added to. Below that, we have some technical specifications for the camera type, the lens, the resolution, and the size of the photo. Below that, we have our uploaded details. Here we can see the account that uploaded the photo, the name, the location, and the date of filming. Below that, we have our GDPR section. Here we can see whether or not the footage contains people, whether it has any minors in there. And lastly, we can see whether or not we are allowed to do biometric processing for this particular photo. You can always mouse over and get some more information for each of these terms whenever you see this little icon next to it. Above the photo, we have the ability to add it to a collection. So now it'll add it to the already open collection on the right-hand side here. Besides that, I can download the image, and here in this pop-up, I select whether I want to simply download the original image or maybe lower resolution proxy files. Once we hit edit up here, we have the ability to actually start editing the metadata and the tags that are already selected for this photo. Anything in gray up here is a potential tag that we might want to add. Let's say we wanted to say this is part of a CSR campaign. Maybe we want to remove logistics. Doesn't look like that's super relevant. Now we can see that the pink tags below here are the ones that are active. Anything on the left-hand side here is the details that we just saw in the previous screenshot, so we can just edit that here. our customers typically like to have internal notes about the footage where we can put useful information on how it should be used or any other things that we need to consider for this particular asset. On the right hand side, we can remove or we can add more participants to be included for this particular footage. For now, we just know that these are the two guys that's in this footage. And remember, we can always go up in the left hand corner, click the logo and return to our main screen. On the right hand side here, we have our settings subpage where we can see additional features and tools. First up, collections, and we have a simple search box. We can, on the right hand side, add a new connection and name it here. We can edit a collection. Let's say we may want to remove a specific asset, and yes, we remove it, we hit save, and then we go back. I can also duplicate or delete a specific collection up here. Below that we have folders, and it's the same principle with the search functionality up here, but we can filter for individual years if that's what we want to do. Other than that, same functionality on the right hand side. We can add a new folder, we can delete or edit the folders as well. And by edit, it's essentially renaming it or moving it to a different year. Below that we have tags. We have our search field, we have our add new, delete and edit on the right hand side, same as the other sections. We have our featured in that shows you just how many clips that actually have an active tag for this. And then uniquely to this section, we can actually drag and drop the order of our tags. And this could obviously be pretty convenient. Let's say you're creating a new tag for a new product that you just launched and you want that to rank above all the others because it's something that you use quite often. This would be a great way to do it. So that covers all the main functionality of the dashboard that we see in front of us here. Thank you for watching.